What's going on, guys? And welcome back to another episode of Stereo Therapy. I'm your host, Lisa. Justine is my partner in crime, and this is episode 91. Today, we are talking to Matt of Troubled Minds. It was really great to talk to Matt. I'm really glad he reached out and wanted to come on our show because their latest single, The Things We Mend, is absolutely one we want to feature. And the message is so important about finding each person has their own unique purpose in life and finding that as a form of self-love. And I love everything Troubled Minds is about, what they're about in their music, and it paired perfectly to our podcast. So yes, it was one we were looking forward to. I'm so excited to have this episode out. As always, all links below. Check out Troubled Minds, go follow them. I'm telling you, Matt is a wonderful person, and he was one of those people when he got into the Zoom, I was like, okay, this is the vibe. This is awesome. So be sure to follow Troubled Minds and check out the song The Things We Mend. What are you doing? You got to go check it out. But here's our conversation with Matt of Troubled Minds.
So we'd love to hear, what are your favorite memories of falling in love with music?
Oh, my favorite memories of falling in love with music. Well, let's see. I guess when I was 8 years old, I think is kind of when I started to fall in love with music. And I don't know, music has always just sort of been around when I was really young. I mean, it was in video games I was playing. It was like me and the neighbor kid would always play like as 8-year-old boys do, either riding bikes, skateboarding, jumping on the trampoline. And we would go through his older brother's CDs. His older brother was about 16. So I mean, I was finding about bands like Blink 182 and like punk bands like Bad Religion and trying to think of others. I remember he had a Papa Roach CD. This was like early 2000s, by the way. And so I don't know, we were just kind of like throwing CDs in the boombox and just like figuring out what we liked. And yeah, I don't know. That's kind of like one of my earliest memories of like falling in love with music and feeling the need to be searching for music. At the time, it was just like I just need to do a backflip on this trampoline and I need something to hype me up. You know what I mean? But yeah, I that's like my earliest memory of, I guess, falling in love with music or just finding a need for finding music and finding music that resonated with me.
Oh, I love that. A lot of people have said video games. Of course, like Tony
Yeah.
Hawk is a big one, the Pro
I
Skater.
You know what? I try not to say that because people who are older than me, I've noticed, get annoyed by that response. Even though, yes, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater probably my earliest memory of falling in love with music, but it's, I guess, annoying slightly for the older punk crowd because I got into music through a video game and they think that's weird, which it's
Mhm.
not at all.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, people fall in love with music through screens now, just in general. So like through social media, um, you know, finding music videos on YouTube or whatever. Like that's how music is discovered these days. And I think that's, I don't know, slightly weird for the older generation. So I get a lot of shade sometimes when I'm like, yeah, I found punk rock through Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. People are like, boo.
Yeah,
But
it's always the old heads. I feel like even for us,
Yeah.
I feel like if we, especially those older punk dudes, which if
yeah,
any of them are listening, no disrespect, but still, it's one of those things. I mean, even me, if I say, "Oh, hey, I found," oh gosh, what was the band when I was younger? Maybe it was Rancid. It was something at Warped Tour, right? And I was
yeah,
young, and I was like, "Oh," and to them, it's like, well, okay, well, you found them at Warped Tour, whatever, who cares? We've been listening to them forever. You should have known about them if you're into this music. And it just is like, you can't please everybody. Like, I'm a
no,
big Good Charlotte. I loved Good Charlotte growing up. Good Charlotte is like forever, but people have their opinions, especially like that punk crowd. They're like, oh, they're a poser band. They're this, that. And it's like, they're important to pop punk and in the
Mhm.
generation of music, whether you like them or not. And the old heads like Rancid, just that loved and respected Good Charlotte.
yeah. No, I love Good Charlotte too. I love Rancid as well.
Mhm.
I don't know. People find music however they find it, and I don't know. I Because the question is like for the old heads, like how did you find Rancid?
Mhm.
Exactly.
Ivy first? You know,
Yeah.
why is that why we're lame? Because we found Rancid, but it's like I don't know. Like the people that are older than them, did they throw shade because they found music through a CD and not a vinyl record? I don't know. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? it's just it's silly. I guess maybe every generation thinks that the younger generation is silly for X, Y, and Z reasons of finding music, but I don't know. I don't think it's weird that people are finding music through TikTok.
Mhm.
I don't either.
Cool.
Yeah.
I've been posting TikToks every day for this new song. Like I think it's cool. Even my mom came up to me. This was like a year or two ago, and she was like, I've been finding new music by scrolling through Instagram reels.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
hell yeah, mom, go you.
Yeah, I mean, that's like me half the time, most of the time. If I'm on TikTok, I have found so many bands through there. Like a band we had
Mhm.
on, I know you've played at shows with them, Savings. I found Savings on TikTok and
Yeah.
then connected and was like, oh, I would love you on my show. I just love your music. And had I not been scrolling, I would never have found that band at all. I probably, or, maybe if I was lucky and it was just like, again, Instagram, but like TikTok was where it was at.
Hmm. Yeah. 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 Savings is definitely a very cool band. Very active on TikTok.
Yeah.
Everybody generally finds them through TikTok, and that's cool. That's awesome. Yeah, I feel like they always pull some people at the shows that have found them on TikTok. I hear that all the time. Yeah, they're all really cool guys.
Yeah. I mean, even talking to you about like them and just playing shows, something we love to ask too is like your music scene is so important. I know it's important for me. I'm originally from like the Chicago area and now I'm in New Jersey. So I got lucky with two really good scenes. But for you, I mean, I know you guys are based in Arizona. So for you, what is that scene like for you guys?
It's pretty diverse, all in all. I feel like there's a lot of different types of music going on. It's primarily like a lot of indie rock genres, just like a wide umbrella over that. Let's see some of the bands that are doing well here right now. Glixen is doing really well. Shoegaze band. I haven't seen much from Holy Fawn, but they were popping off.
Hmm.
Oh, Sydney Sprague. I don't know if you've heard of her. She
No.
Oso a lot. Uh,
Okay.
she just got back from a tour with Super American. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So I got to write this down and like remember this and go back to this because that sounds like totally something I would listen to.
Yeah, yeah, definitely look up Sydney Sprague. She's great. Let's see. And then there's like smaller bands that are doing really well, like Bethany Home and Practically People. Both of those bands are killing it right now. Yeah, I don't know. It's a cool scene. There's a little bit of everything around here. But it seems like indie rock has always done the best. And I've been living in Arizona for I've been living in Arizona for like most of my life, but I've been active in the scene for over 10 years now, and that's always been like the like what everybody's most hype about, I guess.
Oh, that's so cool. A lot of people though say still like pop punk is really big to where they're at. And it's really cool to hear like things like shoegaze, like that are like there's bands out there. I know a band we're gonna have on at some point. It just hasn't aligned correctly is crossing I's and dotting T's.
Yeah,
And yeah, from the end like they I know are that kind of grunge gaze they call it or shoegaze. And like and that's just so cool to hear bands like that and that genre is a thing because I think a lot of times too, even when you're scrolling TikTok, it's a lot of pop punk or even your band. Like I wouldn't necessarily say you're pop punk in terms of like I think there's so much more to you guys. And that's why I love to hear like when you had DM'd me and I found you guys like there's something like really special here in the sound that's different that would make me stop on like an app like TikTok.
cool. Well, thank you. I really like hearing that. Yeah, there's I mean, what I've noticed with TikTok and all these apps is that I mean, the algorithm is like curating things for you, right? So I have
Mhm.
me and say that Midwest emo's on its way out, pop punk has been dead. The next thing right now is like shoegaze and grunge music. And I'm like, it's not on its way. I still see tons of Midwest emo things getting like
Mhm.
massive amounts of attention. It's just you're not searching for those things because it's not your music, so your algorithm's not showing it to you. So yeah, I don't know. It's so hard to say like what's popular right now because everything's popular right now. It just everyone's finding their niche, and our algorithms are just showing that to us over and over. So we think that what we're into is super popular, but it's really hard to say. You know what I mean? But I don't know where I was going with that.
No, but no, that's so true because until I almost fixed my algorithm when we started the podcast, I was getting certain music and thinking, oh, like how do people find certain acts for their podcast? Like, what do they do that are more their style? I'm like, I can't really find stuff that is my style. And then when I started almost finding certain bands like Savings and they were in my algorithm, I mean, every day I have a new band where I'm like, okay, like I get this. It's the algorithm, like you just said, and what it is isn't like that's wild how it works. So that's
Yeah,
oh man.
yeah. I was this is kind of a funny story. I one of these I don't remember why I did this. I guess I was just being funny, but I showed my friends that I could train my algorithm to show me anything. So on my personal Instagram, because I didn't want to like mess with the band one, on my personal Instagram, I started liking and commenting only on pictures of ducks on Instagram. And I did that for about an hour straight. And for the next like 2 weeks, all Instagram was showing me was ducks. I was missing all of my friends' posts. My entire feed was just little ducks, rubber ducks, little ducks, like baby ducks, grown ducks. It's just duck content the whole way through. And it was hilarious at first. And then it got really annoying because I had to train it back. I had to look up my friends and start engaging in other things. But yeah, you could train it to do anything. If you just want to live in a world where the only thing you see are ducks, you absolutely can. And it only takes about an hour.
Oh my gosh, that reminds me too of me. I have a thing like I love animals. I love the squirrels and like something about like beavers, little beavers. They are like almost like humans, the way they like, brush their fur and they're just funny and the noises they make. My algorithm was full of like baby beavers, like literally, because I think I was liking like those posts and like, oh, look at this baby animal. And literally, like you said, like I had to go through my personal, thank goodness I did that. Cause like the podcast, I don't even know what would have happened, but it was all beavers for so long. I'm like, what is going on here? So that's I was doing the same thing and not even knowing it.
I did it with ducks. That's
There we
awesome.
go. Right. Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I'm a big animal person, but I'll go ahead and let you, Justine. I'm like, I had to share that about these baby beavers that are like all over. I bet if I opened it right now, it would be full of it.
Nice.
So, how has music helped you in difficult times? Do you have specific artists that has helped you that you could talk about?
Bands that have helped me in difficult times. Uh, Now I have to think about difficult times in my life. In I don't know. The first record that comes to well, a couple of records that come to my mind. The first one that came to my mind was the Wonder Years, The Upsides. That like first record they ever put out. I
Hmm.
feel like that helped me through some difficult times in like high school. Let's see. I don't know. Do you guys know Bayside?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, love Bayside.
Love them.
Shoot. I don't know. How has it helped me? I mean, just relatable lyrics, having shows to look forward to going to, and I don't know. I don't have anything super specific there, but I mean, the whole music community has given me something to do. You know what I mean? Sometimes I wonder where I would be if I didn't have like shows to go to or songs to write or I mean, I also record other bands in town. Like if I didn't have bands to record, I do sound over at a venue. Like if I didn't have that, like music has helped me because it's given me everything. It's just given me my schedule. It's given me a reason to get out of bed in the morning. So so yeah, I don't know. I don't really have any specific stories beyond that, but it's just given me everything.
Yeah, I can relate to that so much. Like I think about like had I not been in certain rooms when I was like a teenager and then on of being locally in those venues and meeting the people I met and kind of been on that path, I'm like, would I even have this podcast? Would I even do that? Like all these cool things that I do and having shows, having bands that like I can have when I'm going through something and like, oh, I know I have a song for that. Let me put this in. I think
Yeah,
it's so important and those moments are so like those scenes. Let's like talking about your music scene. Like it's so important where I'm like, had I not been into that, or maybe I was like, I don't know, like what if I was into sports? Not saying like someone's that into music can't be into sports, but like if I was there, I don't even know where like my life would probably look completely different right now.
yeah. Yeah, it is crazy. I've thought about that before as well, and I don't have like an answer. I have nothing. I have no idea where I would be, and it's a crazy thing to think about, but it definitely makes you thankful for what we have and the communities that we have.
Oh, and even like now that we talked about music that has helped you and other music, I want to talk about your like you guys just released a song on the 11th that's been out for a little bit, The Things We Mend. What's been the response with that one?
Generally positive. People seem to be digging the song. I mean, we're just kind of it's only been out for the weekend. So
Yeah.
making, our short little video clips and posting them every day, and the reactions seem to be very positive so far. So we're just, we keep trucking along. We just passed 1,000 streams on it, which is, exciting to see that happen over a weekend. So yeah, generally positive. Yeah, everyone digs it.
No, it's good. And again, like that's why I was really excited to see and hear a sound like this because I'm sure you get this a lot. And I'm like, oh, like I'm like, there's so many T bands right now in my mind. Not turnover, title fight. I get
Oh,
a little bit of title fight in your music,
that's cool.
which is really cool. And I'm like, even today when I was going through everything, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna mess up this. I'm either gonna say turnover or title fight because there's so many of them. But
Yeah.
I get that vibe in that, which again is something different in what I've been hearing a little bit. So that's what's really cool. Again, to push not only your band, but like maybe with this song and hear that there's music like this being made out there.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah, that means a lot. Title Fight is definitely one of my favorite bands. I grew up with that band. Like I found The Last Thing You Forget when I was like 16, and then Shed came out when I was like 19, and then it was Floral Green and oh wait, no, no, no. No, I was 17 when Shed came out. And then when I was in college, it was Floral Green and then so on and so forth. So I really grew up with that band. So thank you. That means a lot. Uh but yeah, that whole like 2010 to 2012 like Run for Cover, No Sleep Records era of music still has like a huge influence on me. So yeah, a lot of those bands from that era, Transit, I don't know if you remember
Mhm.
Transit, that band was super cool. Um yeah, I don't know, just like that whole era, it still has like a huge impact on the way I write music and the way I feel music out.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, when they talk about different eras of music, like everyone wants to talk about the early 2000s, and that was so special for some reason. But
Mhm.
that era, I think of that 2010s and on, that era where you had like your turnover, you had your title fight, you had your balance and composure, all even movements. And even I know they're getting bigger right now, but like those bands in that era, I'm like, I think that was a really cool and important era for so many people that people like don't really talk about at all.
Yeah, well, because like, I mean, pop punk was silly. I mean, in a good way, in like the early 2000s with bands like Blink 182 and Sum 41, and that had its sound, and then the sound evolved a little bit, and it got like a little darker and more serious, and also a little bit more like underground and cool. You know what I mean? Because I think rock music, and correct me if I'm wrong, but around 2010, rock music kind of took a dive.
Yeah.
So it was a niche thing, which made it really cool and hip. I don't know. It was a really cool era. I missed the scene back in those days, but the scene today is also cool. It's also very cool. But yeah, that whole era, I still think it's like one of the most solid, like that 2010 to 2012. I marked those years in like pop punk and emo. That was solid, very solid.
Yeah, like even another band that comes to mind during that era was Basement. I don't know if you're familiar,
Yeah.
but like
Oh yeah.
they're still slept on in my opinion, which is why I'm so glad they're playing when we were young because maybe like all right, some kids are gonna be like, wow, we should have listened to this. Like this is really cool that we maybe slept on for
Yeah.
whatever reason because yeah, that oh gosh. Now I need to like create my little playlist of all these bands we're talking about because I'm like maybe I need to go back to.
Yeah. Fireworks was another great band from that era.
Mhm.
They actually they did a little touring last year, and we got to open for them, and they were all really cool guys. But yeah, they're another solid band from that era. We recorded The Things We Mend with Nick Brazacy.
Okay.
He played bass and he sang in Man Overboard. But yeah, so I mean, like we recorded with him, so that's cool. And now he's playing bass in the story so far, at least live. So that's a cool connection that we made and a cool friend we made. But yeah, yeah, all solid bands.
Yeah, I know Nick does great work. I know I had Cody from Goalkeeper on a
Oh,
long time ago. He was like my first one episode I ever did before Justine, before you even joined on.
Mhm.
And Cody is just great. Goalkeeper is so great. And he recorded with Nick as well, I know, for a little bit. And that was really cool. That's just so cool to hear. Like, I had one guest at the beginning, and now, right now, you've worked with him and have great things to say.
yeah, and I love Goalkeeper, by the way. I
Mhm.
think we're talking to them. They were one of the bands that convinced us to do it because we were in between choosing a lot of different people, and it was, I believe, yeah, Goalkeeper, definitely Keep Flying. I don't know if you know them, but we talked
Mhm.
about Nick, and they had great things to say about working with Nick too. And then so we pulled the trigger on it, and we went over to his studio, the Gradwell House, for a week, and it was a phenomenal experience. I'm not gonna lie. It was really cool. He's a great producer. And when you work with him, it's not just him. Like he kind of worked with us on like song structure and lyrics and melodies and things like that. But then he has an assistant that works with like microphone choice and microphone placement and some of the more technical aspects of engineering. And then also one thing we did that I had never seen done before is that his assistant would go downstairs into another studio while I was like recording vocals upstairs. So we were like doing two recording sessions at the same time. And when somebody finished downstairs with like bass, for example, I would like, they would be like, hey, do you want it? Like, we can transfer the tracks over. So they would like send the tracks upstairs and then plug it into the session. And then we would keep moving. So it was really productive. And I had never experienced anything like that before. So it was just really cool.
Hearing even Nick's name, it's like, yeah, it brings me back to Man Overboard and all that. And obviously, with the Things We Mend is on that upcoming EP. It's hard to believe like 2025, your EP is going to come out, and we're like right at the door of that. And I know something you had mentioned, it touches on that each of us have that unique calling and everything and purpose. And finding that is a form of self love and self care.
Mm.
And I loved that because I was like, that is so, even for me, like even talking about music like we were, that's my purpose, I think, in doing stuff like this. And that's so just such a great message. For you, do you feel like doing what you're doing musically is your purpose?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It definitely is. And, in pursuit of like finding your passion and finding your purpose in life, things can get hard, things can get, especially, with a band, like if things aren't like going as well as you thought, or maybe, you know, you were doing better a couple of years ago or whatever. Yeah, things can get hard. And that's kind of what the song's about, is just like staying true to yourself, staying true to what you love, and understanding that that should be your drive. Is like kind of just manifesting a life that you want to live. But yeah, it amazes me that a lot of people don't have a thing like that. They don't have, I don't know, like a special uh, either hobby or like purpose or thing of that nature. And it is absolutely a form of self-love to find that and continue with it and keep pursuing it even in the hard times. And that's just kind of what that song means to me. And anybody can listen to the lyrics and find their own personal meaning that gives them their own drive and all that. But yeah, that's kind of what the song is about. And a lot of the lyrics, because I was trying to like read through all the lyrics of all the songs on the whole EP, and I was trying to come up with like a theme for the whole thing, and that is kind of the theme of the whole EP too. So yeah, I'm really excited to get it out. I love these songs so much. It's probably my favorite thing I've ever created ever. um, but yeah, this is just like the first song on it, and we're just gonna keep releasing songs as singles, and we're still trying to figure it out. It might be an EP, or we might just keep writing and recording and put out an album. We actually don't really know yet. But single seems to be the way to go to make a lot of attention these days. So we're just kind of keeping our mind focused on putting out one song at a time and figuring it out as we go along.
Maybe even if you don't feel you have that purpose yet, that maybe you do and you just don't realize it. And it's so, I loved that when I heard that, when you had said that to me and kind of like that. And I'm like, this is so great to have this on this podcast with it, that intersection of music and mental health, because that right there is such a self-love thing. And finding that purpose can do so many things for your mental health.
Yeah. Yeah, when I was like looking for podcasts, just to do this with, I found yours, and I can't remember how, but I did, and I was reading about yeah, your message of intersecting mental health and music, and I was like, dude, I gotta hit you up. We gotta chat a little, because that's kind of the message of the whole band, and I think that's really cool what you're doing, and yeah, thank you so much for having me on.
Oh my gosh, yeah, no, this was one, like, even when I had it, I was like, I'm looking forward to this one too, and, like, just having this on here, and again, to push a band too, because sometimes you get bands where you're like, "All right, I really gotta sit on this, and I really have to get in the mood and the mode, like, before I have them on," and, like, putting Troubled Minds on, I'm like, "This is okay, like, this is what I need," and also, like, has a good message with it, and it just is, yeah. So, I mean, and even talking about your music and this upcoming release, what do you think? I know you said it was one of your favorite things you've done, you're gonna create. What are you most proud of and excited further to have out there when it's released?
I'm sorry. So what are we most excited for in the future? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, like with this EP or coming out.
Well, let's see. On the horizons, we're playing Fest in Florida. So
Mhm.
that's really cool. I mean, that's a festival I've watched year after year get announced. As long as I've been around going to shows and stuff like that. So it's a huge honor that we're going to be a part of that this year. I'm really happy to see that. Beyond that, we don't have much planned for the rest of the year. Just focusing on getting as much attention to these songs as possible. So kind of slowing down on the tours and the shows, but that's important, I think, when it comes to getting new music out, because I don't know, it's a lot of work. I can
Oh,
only do this much, So we're trying to focus in on like writing new material, releasing new material, and focus on getting those reels made and those TikToks made and things like that. But then we definitely want to get back out and tour more in 2025. I'm sure we will, but like this year 2024, we had like a bunch of festivals that we were on, but I feel like it kind of got in the way of putting out the new music, because it was like, I don't know, just a lot of booking work. There's also a lot of stuff in my personal life that was in the way. Kind of rambling, sorry.
no, no, you're good. Yeah, that's gotta be so tough. Like, I think people don't understand, especially, I forget what band I saw, but they posted a story about like what all goes into like booking, like a tour. Like, there's a lot of, I mean, that's mental health right there too, like booking that and like on top of your own, like you just said, your personal life too. Like, there's band life, there's personal life, and then just everything in between.
Yeah, one thing I love to do when it comes to booking a tour is I mean, whenever I find a band that I like online, I send them a DM, and I just say like, hey, your music's cool, whatever. I try to like make connections like that, and bands that respond and listen to our music and like us as well, I have a map of the United States in my room, and I just put their name down where they live, right? So
Yeah.
that comes time to book a tour, I just look at my map, and
Yeah.
I see names, and if I see like a loop that starts in Arizona and goes, maybe up California around the West Coast or through Texas and up in the Midwest and back around, then I hit up all those bands. That seems to be the fastest way to get started booking a tour, in my experience. That way you're not like, crap, who do I know where? Because it's a lot to remember. Um, but yeah, that's one of those things where when I'm booking a tour, I start to slip on other things. Like I don't make TikToks and reels as often when I'm booking a tour, because every day I'm one of my moves is I just go to a coffee shop, I get a cold brew, I get super caffeinated, and I start my phone. And after I do that for 5 hours, I'm done. I'm like, okay, no more phone time.
Oh, that sounds like me when I'm doing anything with the podcast. So yeah, I get super caffeinated and then I'm that same person. Like, let me see what can I do? What, who can I reach out to? Like, yeah, no, but on a different level and a much more stressful level, you guys face that, but I can definitely relate to that.
But here's the thing: is it's like it's good stress, it's fun stress. Um, I sometimes I have to remind myself like I'm just messaging my friends right now. Like this isn't that stressful. It's kind of stressful, but it's not that stressful because you get to say hi to everyone, and that's cool, you know. So yeah, I don't know. Band life is stress life, but it's good stress, and I'm happy to be feeling the stress.
Yeah, I mean, even like circle back to like Fest. Who are like I knew obviously playing, which again, that's bucket list for me. I've never been able to go to Fest. That's one where I'm like that. I mean, I know when we were young is like the cool one. Everyone loves to just say like, yeah, that would be cool. But Fest feels like just chaos in the best way to attend that. For you, obviously playing, but who are you excited to see at Fest?
So for bigger bands, I'd say Joyce Manor. They're playing Never Hungover again in its entirety, and that's gonna be a lot of fun. Let's see. For smaller bands, Kerosene Heights, they're super cool. I think Glazed is playing. They're cool. Let's see. I have a list actually. Just gonna go. I hope you don't mind me using my
Oh my
phone.
gosh, yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay, cool. Uh, where is best schedule? Cool. So yeah, Kerosene Heights, Goodridge, Broadway Calls, Hot Water Music, Roswell Kid, stoked to see a Wilhelm Scream, stoked to see Cloud Nothings, Combat. Actually, just saw Combat the other day. Crushed. We're gonna be touring with them over there. Got to shout them out. I'm stoked to see Cursive.
Hmm.
Definitely stoked to see Cursive. Where else? Oh, Anorak. I don't know if you know them. They're like
No.
Midwest emo from Japan. Definitely look them up.
Yes.
Uh, Arcadia Gray, the Bouncing Souls, Aren't We Amphibians? That's basically the list of who I'm stoked to see right there.
Oh, that's a good list. Like right about Hot Water Music, Cursive, all the like there that's why I loved seeing that lineup of that. I know oh, is Touche Amore playing? I think Touche Amore is playing that one too. But like there's so many just again, it would be chaos in the best way to see any of those bands and the same plays and just oh man. I again, that's bucket list. One day I keep saying, I'm like, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go. And then October just gets to be the busiest month ever in my personal life where I'm like, yeah, like I can't go. There's no
Yeah.
way. But that's amazing you guys get not only get to play, but then see those bands on top of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm really excited. It should be a really good time. Yeah, really stoked to be a part of it. And for us, it's Fest is. It always seemed like kind of a pipe dream because it's on the opposite side of the country. It's in Florida, and we're in
Mhm.
Arizona, so it would require touring all the way across the country. And I was always like, man, that would be tough, but we did it. Like with this year was the year we did it. So, uh, yeah, really excited to go make that happen.
Oh, I always love hearing that too. Like when bands get to do things like that they would like to do, and somehow it just our stars aligned, everything makes it happen, and you go and do it. So, oh, but I know, just seeing, I kind of went off, but there was so much to talk about the EP and stuff. So I'll go ahead and I'll let you go.
Yeah. So, because our podcast highlights mental health, we always really like to ask everybody, what do you do to aid your mental health? Is there anything other than music?
What do I do to aid my mental health other than me?
Yeah.
Yes, a lot of things. I like to go on walks. That generally helps me getting outside. Being cooped up inside too much is it kind of clouds my brain a little bit. So I definitely like to go out a little bit more. I've been telling myself that I should get back into like running a little bit more because I used to do that. So I might pick that up. Well, I should pick that up. I keep saying I might, but I gotta stop being lazy. Uh, so yeah, I'd say going outside, going on walks, that helps a lot for me. What else do I do? Reminding myself to take breaks. Because
Yeah.
sometimes, I'm like, got that done. What's next? Got that done. What's next? And then, like why am I miserable?
Yeah.
Yeah.
uh, and yeah, sometimes like I don't know, I try and stay productive. Uh, but sometimes I'm more productive if I do certain things at certain times, if that makes sense. So just reminding myself that, if the plan to reach out to a bunch of podcasts isn't like I'm not doing that well, and I would rather, to highlight again, sometimes I like record and mix local bands for their releases. Maybe I want to work on a mix instead. Well, just do what you want to do, Uh, when I follow that, I tend to be more productive because I don't get fatigued as quickly because I'm doing something that I want to do in the moment. Sometimes it sucks because then I work on recordings a lot and then I forget that I'm in a band too. And there's some diligence with balancing everything that I do, but just trying to focus on like how I feel and then do that work helps me a lot. Being introspective, I guess. That's another one. Taking the time to just think back at what I accomplished and where I'm going. Sometimes in the moment it feels like, oh, that's not productive enough, but like it is, and it is important to do that.
But no, it's that's so important in remembering to take breaks. That's something I need to listen to because I am a person that is go, go, go. Like even looking at my calendar for this month with the podcast, and then even in November, I'm like, gosh, I am just go, go, go. I need to take a break. I need to do that because if not, then I might get burnt out. And that's not like I'm like, I don't need to be doing that. Like I love this thing. I love doing it and meeting people like you and your band and other people on the show. But it's like if I don't remember to take those breaks, it's like that's horrible for your mental health. And it's easier to say too, because especially if you're a person that's go, 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 you want to do this. And or like me, I'm a big perfectionist too. So like that doesn't help me. So I think that's so important to have that on here too, is like remember to take breaks. I know I need to hear that.
Yeah,
I think all of us need to hear that.
yeah, and also just reminding yourself that tomorrow's another day. Tomorrow's another day, and maybe today wasn't the day that something got done. It wasn't the day that your video popped off or whatever, but tomorrow is another day. And I've been telling myself that I've been trying to stay diligent with like reels basically like every day. Um and just being patient with that. Yeah, tomorrow's another day. Next week's another week, next month's another month. And no one's taking my band away from me. I can keep doing this as long as I want. And just having patience, that's a huge one. Just learning patience can definitely help with your mental health. Yeah, I'm trying to think of other cool things to say about that. But I think we hit it, right? We
Yeah,
talked.
no. Oh, so great. I'm like already, I'm like, all right. Especially trying not to compare because if I have a reel and say, okay, I'm going to do this and I really want people to get to the podcast episode and understanding that like that could be a great reel on what that person's saying, and it's not like a reflection on the person, on my podcast. Like someone the right people are gonna find this episode and find like things like you're saying or every guest is saying and like resonate with it. And that's okay. Because social media, that's the toughest thing with mental health. Like for me, it's like I had to almost tell myself, like, who cares? You're doing this for you. You don't want to be that person like chasing a view, chasing that. Cause like that's not me either. I'm like, I don't post anything unless it's like really authentic and it's us. Like, I'm not gonna be that person. Oh, like, "Oh, well, this is really popping off on so and so's page. Let me do this." So it is. It's yeah. There's so many
Yep.
important things in this one.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely feel that as well. Everything that you're saying, you want to be authentic, but yeah, you have to compare yourself kind of because you got to see what other people are doing. You got to support other people, which means watching their videos and, engaging and all that. And, in turn, hopefully it'll help you out, because you're connecting and that's literally just what networking is.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, it is tough. Mental health or social media is uh or can be very draining on your mental health. And it's important to understand that you can take a break.
Mhm.
You can take a break from things, and you can have like your introspective time to think about things and come back when you're ready. uh that's all cool, and I think it's important that people also take that into consideration. But yeah, social media, it's a tough one. It really is. It's a great tool, but it's at what cost? You know what I mean?
Oh, like one of our favorite guests we've had on here is, and someone we've connected with is Matt Fatisse. I mean, everyone has seen Matt Fatisse around
Cool guy.
Instagram. Oh, like the kindest person, and learning from him, having him on our show and just always connecting with him, and him kind of really putting it out there of like, look, nobody has it all figured out. Social media is that one day it's great, one day it's not. And even him and what he deals with in his personal life, and you see with his job, but yet he posts and has his content. But he's been great to learn from and just have in our corner of, you know what? Like, you're gonna have no's, you're gonna have highs, you're gonna have lows, and this, and just how the space of social media and taking those breaks. Like he's told us before, like, I've taken a break. I haven't posted a video because like I need a break, or I need this, or my job is a little busy this week. So I don't have a podcast episode for his hour space. And like that's okay. And like reminding myself in those conversations with him that like, yeah, it's okay if like you're not always that go, go, go person.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Um, this like the first half of this year, I needed to work a lot. It was I yeah I I was kind of falling behind on some things, and I was in the middle of a move, and it was like I wasn't ready to release the EP, even though it was all done in March. I didn't get around to releasing the first song until October, and
Hmm.
it is what it is, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I would rather have waited than have stressed myself out and maybe drop the ball a little bit more. So we all do the things that we do. Life calls, and it's important to respond.
Yeah. Oh, so many good things. Oh my gosh, this has been so great to have you on and get to know your upcoming music and the single and just this mental health talk. I know things I needed to hear. And before we let you go, I would love to hear, where can people find you? I mean, I know all the socials, we'll have all the links, but if someone just wants to listen, like, hey, where can I check out Troubled Minds? Where's the best place for people to find you guys?
Uh, I mean, we're on all the streaming sites, so Spotify, Apple Music, things like that. I'm sure we're probably on Tidal and Deezer if any of you out there use those smaller ones. So yeah, and then on all the socials, Instagram, Troubled Minds AZ, TikTok. I believe they're all Troubled Minds AZ, but Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube. Um, we're all over the place. I mean, you could probably just Google search Troubled
Yeah.
Minds.
Oh, perfect. And it like, again, yeah, this has been so great. Like I'm already like we thank you for taking the time and coming on our show and just talking all this great stuff with us. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I definitely enjoyed this as well.
And all right, guys, that was our conversation with Matt of Troubled Minds. Again, we can't thank Matt enough for taking time out of his day and talking about what is to come with Troubled Minds. I was so happy to also talk about their road to Fest because the band is playing Fest. And again, that is a bucket list. And I was just so excited to talk about that and spend some time with that and spend some time talking about the things we mend. And I think it was such a conversation that I really walked away from, again being like, this podcast is my purpose. So it's one of those things, and it is a form of self love. And I think so many of you would really be into this band. So do yourself a favor, click the links below, go give them some follows. And again, we want to thank Matt so much for that. I know I said there would not be an episode this week, and here is the episode. We are taking a break next week. I just wanted to get this episode out because we had such a wonderful conversation with Matt, and I didn't want to sit on it, especially with this single out and it's been out for a bit. So I wanted to make sure you guys show this song and this band some love. So we have this episode out. We will be taking a break next week. But yeah, we wanted to make sure that this single got some love and the timing was just perfect. But we will be taking a break next week. But we have so much ahead and it's crazy. We've already planned out like the rest of the year in episodes. And we have a couple things on the horizon that we can't talk about yet. But just you wait. It's going to be so great. But as for our show, if you are liking this thing, leave a positive rating or review. Give us a follow, subscribe to the show. It goes such a long way. You have no idea. not just our show, maybe you like the Emo Social Club, maybe our space, maybe top 8 with Matt and TJ, maybe top 8 with Matt and TJ for our space media. Maybe she's with the band. Maybe, gosh, there's so many great podcasts. I don't know. I can't think of them, but maybe your favorite podcast. All right, guys, we will see you guys next time. All right. Bye, guys.